What if I told you that anxiety, the racing heart, the spiraling thoughts, the restless nights, is not your enemy? That the discomfort you feel isn't a malfunction, but a message? That the very thing you wish to escape might be the key to unlocking your most authentic self? Sounds strange, doesn't it? But that's exactly what centuries of philosophical wisdom suggest. Because what we call anxiety today, philosophers once called awakening. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand where your anxiety comes from, but also how to transform it into clarity, purpose, and inner peace. Let's begin. Anxiety is a ghost we chase in the modern world. We medicate it, we silence it, we distract ourselves from it with endless scrolling, with noise, with motion. But philosophers from Epictetus to Kierkegaard saw something deeper beneath that trembling surface. They understood that anxiety is a signal, not a symptom. It's the soul knocking on the door of your awareness, trying to get your attention. But instead of listening, we turn away. And in that turning away, the anxiety grows. Let's start with Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher often called the father of existentialism. Kierkegaard didn't see anxiety as a disease. He called it the dizziness of freedom. What he meant is this: human beings are unique because we are aware of our own potential. We don't just exist, we reflect on our existence. We imagine what could be. We dream of becoming more. And with that freedom comes fear. What if I choose the wrong path? What if I fail? What if I never become who I'm meant to be? Kierkegaard saw anxiety not as something to eliminate, but as proof that we are free. To feel anxiety is to stand on the edge of possibility. To deny it is to fall asleep at the wheel of your own becoming. Now consider Martin Heidegger, another voice from the existential tradition. He argued that most of us live in what he called inauthentic ways. We absorb other people's beliefs. We follow routines without asking why. We lose ourselves in the crowd. And then, something happens, an event, a loss, a silence, and suddenly, we come face to face with anxiety. Not because something is wrong, but because something is finally right. In that moment, Heidegger said, we are called back to our own existence. We realize life is finite, that time is not promised, that our choices matter, and so anxiety becomes a kind of spiritual wake-up call. Not a defect, a demand. Live, now, as yourself.
But let's go even further back, to the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. They all understood anxiety, though they didn't use that word. They saw how our minds are constantly pulled toward what we can't control. The future, the opinions of others, the outcomes of our efforts. And they offered a radical solution. Focus only on what is in your power. Everything else, let it go. The Stoics weren't indifferent. They were grounded. They trained their minds daily to distinguish between what they could shape and what they couldn't. And in doing so, they freed themselves from the tyranny of uncertainty. Imagine what your life would look like if you adopted even 10% of that mindset. How many sleepless nights could you skip? How much peace would you gain? Modern psychology is finally catching up to what these ancient thinkers knew. Carl Jung, whose work blends philosophy and psychology, believed anxiety often comes from what he called the shadow. These are the parts of ourselves we suppress, the doubts, desires, wounds and fears we were taught to hide. But what we bury doesn't disappear. It festers. It shows up in overthinking, in nervous habits, in that quiet panic that never quite leaves. Jung believed that healing begins when we bring the shadow into the light, when we name what we fear instead of fleeing from it, when we confront the dragon and discover its guarding treasure. This brings us to the heart of the matter. Anxiety is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also a portal. It's the emotional price of evolution. It's the friction that comes when your current self rubs against your future self, when who you are today feels too small for the person you're becoming. That discomfort, that's the cost of growth. Think about it. Every major transformation in your life was preceded by anxiety. The moment before the leap, the silence before the yes, the breath before the risk. Anxiety is the body's way of signaling that the soul is moving. So what do we do with this? How do we live with anxiety without being ruled by it? Here are 3 lessons drawn from philosophy that might help. Lesson 1. Stop fighting uncertainty. We've been sold the lie that we need to have everything figured out. But life isn't a puzzle to solve, it's a dance to participate in. As Alan Watts said, the meaning of life is just to be alive, not to control it, not to master it, just to be in it, right here, right now. Lesson 2. Return to the present. Most anxiety comes from leaving the moment, from jumping into futures that haven't happened, or pasts that can't be changed. The breath is your anchor, the present is your home. Come back to it, again and again and again. Lesson 3. Make meaning. Viktor Frankl, survivor of the Holocaust and founder of logotherapy, said, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." When we find purpose, even pain becomes bearable. Anxiety loses its teeth when it serves a mission greater than itself. So here's the truth. You might never get rid of anxiety, but you can befriend it. You can listen to it. You can let it guide you, not control you. You can wake up every day, look anxiety in the face and say, "I see you, I hear you, but I'm not afraid of you." And then you live anyway. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but honestly. And that is more than enough. Because maybe anxiety isn't a problem to fix. Maybe it's an invitation to become who you really are. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more videos that dive deeper into the mind, the self, and the mystery of being alive. And remember, your anxiety isn't the end of the story. It might just be the beginning.